Okay, today's video we're going to talk about relative CTR, what it is, and why it will make you unprofitable if you aren't paying attention to this metric. Now, you may already be paying attention to this metric and you just don't know what it's called. But I can assure you that if you don't pay attention to the foundation of what this is and how it decides your profitability on Google Ads, you just simply aren't going to make any money. Today on Google Ads, you either come heavy, you come packing hard, or you don't come at all. It's not like 2010 or back in the day when you could just put an ad in the yellow pages and just show up, you pay your money, you're done. You want to do that crap, you're going to lose your ass on your ad spend. You're going to spend money to work for free or deliver for free or just lose money, work to lose money. 80% of people on Google Ads, I promise you, are making little to nothing. At least half of them are making nothing. And they just don't know it because they don't track the results and they got sales coming in from somebody else so they can finance a losing campaign. Why? Because they don't abide by the laws of what relative CTR is and how Google uses this effective metric to determine whether they're going to make you, give you all the benefits, make you the millions of dollars, or just stomp on you like a bug. Okay? You want to be on the right side of this equation, you got to pay attention to relative CTR. I'm going to tell you what the relative CTR is, like I said at the beginning of this video already, but also what relative CTR will get you when you please the relative CTR gods, if you will, or the Google algorithm that determines whether you get favorable treatment in the Google ad system, or you will make the millions, or you get squashed like a bug. And there's really no middle ground, so to say. There kind of is, but it's like the economy in the US nowadays. There is no middle class. There's winners, there's losers. The winners are taking more and more money all the time. The losers are getting crapped on more and more. So, but anybody can beat the people in their local market so that they are on that winning side of the equation. It's just whether you want to put the time in to do the things, or you're going to be either too lazy to do it or too arrogant to do it. And in fact, most people are just too arrogant. I tell people all the time what you need to do that on these videos on this channel. People don't want to believe that they need to work that hard. You put the time in, put the effort in, you have the information, you'll make the millions as well. So with that said, relative CTR. Definitional wise, okay, this is what your click-through rate is on your ad, or in other words, out of 100 times your ad shows up, what percentage of the times people click on your ad out of every time it's shown. That CTR is divided by the average CTR of all the Google Ads competitors that you have gunning for your same keywords and auctions. So relatively speaking, though, a lot of people don't recognize this. There's 4 ads at the top of Google. Not every search result is this way. But in competitive auctions, there's 4 ads, or up to 4 ads, or typically 4 ads at the top of Google, as you probably already know. Okay, but what people don't typically know is, yet while there's 4 ads at the top of Google in your space, potentially, there's really like 8 to 10 people cycling in and out of those top 4 spots because they all want the same customers you do. And whether you get shown a lot or a little, for a lot per click or a little per click, and on and on and on, which I'm going to talk about here, what the benefits are of outcompeting your competition here, why you'll make millions if you get on the other side of the equation on this thing. Google's rotating these ads in and out to figure out who their favorite should be. Okay, you just want to be able to set the foundation up so that you are inevitably going to be found out as the favorite, so to say. You're looked at as the ugly duckling up front because most people come to the table to do business with Google Ads as an ugly duckling, but then they figure out that you're not at some point once they've tested your ads out or not. So Google's looking at the click-through rate of all these ads as they're cycling in and out of the ad spots, and not just for each keyword, but within the people who search for a keyword, the people that male versus female, old versus young, on and on and on. So basically, it's an ongoing test that Google's running in your niche space as to who's got the best ad, because they want to run that ad, because it gives the users on Google the best experience if they have relevant ads that they see on an overall basis, so that they find use and want to click on ads in the future, which builds its long-term revenue potential for Google. And so they're cycling you, as well as the other guys that are in your space that are wanting to advertise on Google Ads at any given time, in and out of these 4 spots to find out who has the highest click-through rate, okay? They use this relative CTR to see if they should show you more or less, as well as a number of other benefits you get once you have the high relative score, and specifically a relative CTR score that is in the top 20% at least of the 8 to 10 people that are being cycled in and out of the search results for the people that you want to get in front of, okay? Now, you could have a high relative CTR, but you're still not making very much money so this isn't a guarantee like that is you get a super high CTR or higher than other people in your space, relatively speaking, and you automatically make the millions. Why? Because your targeting could be too loose. The biggest mistake I see people make with Google Ads that causes them not to make money is they run their ads too broad. To get in front of the one person that they want to get their ad in front of, or should want to get their ad in front of them, their ad's showing up for 10 people that it shouldn't be showing up in front of. Half the people don't read the ad before they click on it because they go to Google, they search for something, they assume Google, whatever pops up, Google is smart enough to just know what they want, can read their mind, and they click on it. So half the people then, therefore, of the 10 times that you show up that you shouldn't show up for somebody, they're clicking through, and then you pay for all those people. Now you're paying for 5 people essentially to get one person that could buy from you, and you're too inefficient. Therefore, you can't make money no matter what, basically speaking. So, as it applies to relative CTR, you may be actually showing up a high percentage of times in the, search results or auctions that nobody else in your space wants to get in front of, if you will, and it's less competitive, so it's easier to get a higher relative CTR, so to say. Or you're using dynamic keyword insertion in your ad, which, if you don't know what that is, that's where you set up your ad to have whatever the user types in as a keyword to be put in the ad. Well, when you combine shitty targeting, where you show up for less competitive searches, where less people are trying to get squeezed in on those searches to get clicks there, with an ad that's relevant to what they're typing in. Therefore, because when people go to Google and they're trying to decide what ad to click on, they're most of the time just going to click on the ad that most closely matches what they typed in, which is why people use dynamic keyword insertion. And then therefore, you're getting a very high click-through rate on a very low competition search result, and therefore you have a super high relative CTR, but it's for the wrong people. So, in other words, to boil this down into a more simplistic, simple terms, you want as high or the highest relative CTR in your space with actually showing up for the exact people that you want to show up for. Okay, so you have to have both, the targeting and then your ad being good enough to get the high CTR. The easiest way, by the way, to get that, the highest relative CTR in your space is very simple. You use something called single keyword ad groups, which still to this day, 90% of the people in the ad management space are going to say don't work, you don't need them, or whatever stupid bullshit, which I love, by the way, because if they're going to say that and advise all their clients to do the wrong thing, it leaves it wide open for me to use and get a predictable 2 to 3 times higher click-through rate than the average person in any given market at any given time. And I don't care what market it is. So I just know if I go in and use that simple technique that anybody can do, I will have the highest relative CTR in my space. But with that said, going back to what they call dynamic keyword insertion, so first of all, I'm not going to go into single keyword ad groups all the way. If you want to find out exactly how I do that, go to my channel homepage, search for single keyword ad groups or SKAG, S-K-A-G, and you can see my exact formula for this if you want to get the highest relative CTR in your space. But essentially, it's just taking and having a unique ad for every keyword you're targeting, finding, and not just targeting like 5 or 10 keywords, but targeting like the 500 different variants of how people search for your product or service that you want to get in front of that are actual known buyers, and then so they get a laser targeted ad for that exact search they're making. You do that, you'll have 3 times the 3 times the click-through rate anybody else has in your space on average just by doing that. It takes a lot of work. People bitch and complain and it's not easy. Well, sit back and don't get rich. I don't care, but if you want to know how to get rich, that's the best way to do it at a foundational level. Then people will say, though, oh, can't I just use dynamic keyword insertion where I change up the ad and tell Google just put the keyword in the ad? Isn't that good enough? And the answer to that is no. Okay? Every time I say stuff that works on this channel, we guarantee results for our clients' campaigns. We're the only agency out there that does that. We raise your revenue or profit before taking a fee. People, the first reaction is, well, can't I do it this way? Or maybe, can I just not do this, but do that? No. If it were easy, everybody would do it, and there would be no opportunity there. The fact that it does work is because most of the time people aren't willing to do it, even if I tell people to do it on this channel. Using dynamic keyword insertion to get the keyword in your ad to get the highest click-through rate, so therefore you have the highest relative CTR in your space, isn't going to work as good, primarily because what people type in is too long, so therefore it's not going to fit into the ad. Secondarily to that, if somebody types in dentist near me, I don't want to see an ad that says dentist near me. It looks like an auto-generated bullshit. And when people see auto-generated bullshit on Google, they don't click on it. So you could whine and cry and bitch and complain all you want about how dynamic keyword insertion should work as good as having a handwritten ad for every one of your 500 keywords and phrases that people type in that turn into a customer in your market. It's not going to get near the results, and furthermore, it's basically not going to get you much more profit at all, because for what higher click-through rate you get, it's going to be washed out by the people that you get to your site that you don't want, because some people are going to type in dentist near me that's cheap, and your ad's now going to say dentist near me that's cheap, and you're not cheap, so you got the wrong person to your site. You follow my logic here, like why this, don't take the damn shortcuts. I mean, what I'm telling you here is going to make you millions of dollars, but you can't spend 50 hours setting up your campaign initially to make the millions. It's like it's totally ridiculous concept to me why people don't want to spend time on their marketing. Out of anything else in your business, marketing is what you should be spending more time on than anything, because you could more easily outsource anything else in your business than you can the marketing, because very few people that actually know how to get results in the marketing space. So anyway, if you have the highest relative CTR, guess what? There's 5 big benefits you're going to get once Google sees that. Because like I said before, though, you use single keyword ad groups, or you figure out how to get the highest click-through rate in your space for the keywords you want and people you want to show up for in your market. Google's still going to have to figure it out, and you're going to need a few hundred, if not a few thousand clicks on your ads before it's a universal truth to the Google system, Google's algorithm, that you should get all these benefits. So you have to put the work in, and then you have to wait potentially a few months to rack up enough click data for them to figure it out. But it is fucking worth it, because you're going to get all of these benefits. You're going to make 10, 20 times as much money than the average sucker in the space that you're in. That's going to try to set up his ads for an hour. Oh, it's good enough. And you're going to spend the 50 hours and just absolutely crush them into a fine dust. Okay? 5 biggest benefits that you're going to get out of having this relative CTR being higher than your competition. 1, lowers, I wrote lower here. Higher CTR. Higher CTR. So, because there's only so much search demand in your market. There's only so many people on a monthly basis searching for what you do. Google Ads will work every time if you use my methods that I use to guarantee results for our clients' campaigns to get paid, since we already have what those methods are, and we give them to you for free on this channel. So if it works, it's profitable, of course, you want to get as much of it as you can. Well, the easiest way to triple down on what you're making from Google Ads then is just to triple your click-through rate, because it's getting more clicks from the people that already work, so on and so forth. So highest relative CTR means you have a higher click-through rate, higher market share availability of the people searching on Google on a regular basis. Yeah, another benefit is you have a bigger physical ad. One thing Google loves to do that you may or may not have noticed is, though on different search results, some people will have more, we used to call them site links or whatnot. It's called ad assets. So if you're on top of Google, here's your ad right here, right? And then there's stuff underneath it, like along with the ad headline and the description. Those are ad assets. Google likes to put those ad assets and append them to your ad when you have high relative CTR, because you're already giving Google a good user experience, or giving their users a good user experience, i.e. high relevancy on your ad, and they want to promote you more then. And ideally, if you have the highest relative CTR in your space, they want to promote you as much as possible. One way to do that is to make your ad physically bigger so that even more people click on it, or should I say more people see it. Of course, the other half of the equation is you have to be able to deliver on the other side of the click. If you have sky-high relative CTR and dog shit conversion rates, this isn't going to pan out. But that's easy to take care of as well by using decent landing page on the other side, or a decent website design on the other side, or taking them to a hand-picked page on your site for each term that you're targeting, which is part of the SCAG model. But anyway, if you want to know how to do that, there's other videos I talk about how to get the conversion rate up high enough so that the landing page experience for the user is high, so that the relative CTR pays off the way that I'm saying here for you. You'll get the bigger ad. And if you do a good enough job with not only just the highest relative CTR in your space, but it's like significantly higher than the second highest in your space, Google will make your ad freaking huge. And I'm sure you've seen this before, you'll have your ad, and then they'll have it'll literally be 2 or 3 times as big, because the site links at the bottom of the ad will be larger, and they'll be spaced out. And so you literally have an ad that's double the size of what the other guy's ad is. You have so high click-through rates. And then, instead of tripling your click-through rate, you're going to have 6x the click-through rate anybody else in your space has. So getting a high click-through rate from you doing the work to make your ad as relevant as possible, as sellable as possible, gets you a higher click-through rate. And then Google will then double down on it, make your ad bigger, and now instead of getting 3x the click-through rate, now you have 6x the click-through rate. So it's like you really are building momentum when you work on Google Ads. If you do everything right, the wind's at your back, Google's trying to help you make more money, you're making yourself more money just by doing the things you can as a human optimizer of your ads. And then the algorithm is trying to make you more money. Versus on the other end of it, you're trying to make your ads more profitable by optimizing, but you don't have good relative CTR, good conversion rates, and then Google's trying to promote you less, and you're fighting an uphill battle. You don't want to be on that side. If you're not making enough money, more than likely you don't have the relative CTR you need, and you don't have the conversion rate where you need it. So bigger ad, also what you get is more impressions. So not only will they make your ad bigger, but for the keywords you want to show up for and the people you want to show up for in your market, they'll show you at a higher percentage of the time. So what they call search impression share. So you may only get shown 3/4 of the time when you make a search in your own space. Well, you can get shown 95% of the time if you have the highest relative CTR. Furthermore, higher percentage of high intent users. What I mean by that is, people get a kick out of this for some reason on this channel when I talk about this, and this is something nobody's talking about. I know it because I start up good 5 different Google Ads accounts a month, and I've been doing it for 10 years now. Google gives the new advertiser with no history or does a bad job with relative CTR the dog shit traffic. They pretty much know when somebody searches for makes a search in your space, who is going to be likely to convert into a customer and who's a tire kicker and whatnot there. They are going to give the tire kicker traffic to the new guy or the guy that has the low relative CTR. Why? Because they know you're not going to be there very long. You're probably going to be like 90% of the people who show up think they're going to spend an hour setting up their ads, want instant results. They're in 90 days, they're out, and the guys that have been running their ads for years are going to keep running their ads for years there because they know the game or whatnot there. So you get treated like a sucker at the beginning, essentially. all the shitty traffic they think is least statistically likely to convert, they're going to send it your way. Your ad's going to show up a higher percentage of the time for those exact people because they sub-segment the traffic on each keyword. So if you're targeting red shoes, they don't just look at it as, should your ad show up for red shoes or not? No, there's 1,000 different people who search for that exact phrase, red shoes, and they look at what you've done before you made the search, how much money you have, how old you are, and then through all the previous searches for red shoes in the last 10 years, they've made a conclusion on the people that search for that go on to buy versus not buy. And if you have the low relative CTR, guess what? They're going to shovel that dog shit traffic to you, and they're not going to give it to the guy that's doing well because they want the guy that's doing well for their users, helping their users out a lot, and will be around because Google hates change. They don't want to see ads change all the time. They want to be able to optimize ads on a long-term basis. So the guys that have been there for 2 years, they want them to be, they understand how their ads work, how to run their ads for users in your market so they routinely get a good experience because they know, when this ad should show versus this ad and so forth, that they just want to reward as much as or incentivize the people that are there to keep staying around, if you will, versus them knowing there's a 90% chance you're going to be gone in 90 days no matter what happens. Basically speaking, they're going to give you the crappy traffic. Why would they not? Okay? So you're going to get a higher quality stream of traffic from your keywords itself when you have the highest relative CTR in your space. And then finally, higher ad rank. So you got going back to the 4 ads on the top of Google again. Of course, if Google likes, if you're helping their users out by having the most relative ad, and then therefore having the highest relative CTR in your space, of course they're going to want to promote you more, and they'll get you out in front of their users more, and they'll push you up higher in the list. Being in the first position versus the 3rd or 4th position, you're going to have like 2.5 times the click-through rate on your ad just by being at number 1. Of course, the conversion rate on your traffic on the first spot is lower, so normally it's not such a great thing to be there. But if you're already getting above a return or an ROI above where you need to be, that's a great thing because you're going to make more money, even though you'll have a less conversion rate being in that first spot. But you'll now have 2.5 times the number of clicks you had before to offset it, so to say. Okay, and so Google will just push you up this list, so you'll be higher in the list without necessarily having to pay more clicks. Because you could be higher in the list by just being willing to pay more for a customer or pay more for a click. But if you have a high relative CTR, you're going to be able to be default in a higher position for the same cost per click and generating the leads or the sales at the same cost, therefore generating more sales or more leads at the same cost you had them before when the relative CTR that you have is higher than other people in your space. And the bigger the gap that you are above the second place guy in terms of relative CTR in your space, the more all of this stuff that I just mentioned is going to happen. The more aggressive it's going to happen, the more intense it's going to happen. So your goal shouldn't just simply to be, how can I make, forget just showing up, how do I do this so that, what's the bare minimum it takes for me to make money? Because if you think like that, you're going to be the 90% who end up in the PPC graveyard. This shouldn't even be, how can I be the top 10% of the people in my space? It should be, what's anything and everything I can do to make my CTR as high as possible so that my relative CTR is 3 times what the second place guy is, because they're going to freaking promote the absolute shit out of you. And forget about, when I was talking about, like 6xing the amount of clicks you can get 10, 20 times the clicks you had before. Once they figured out you have that much of a premium on your relative CTR than the closest competitor. So, because of course, like I said, it all comes down to Google when they want to make money. The people that give the best experience to their users, so they are loyal to the Google Ads, environment, therefore will be more willing to click on ads in the future. They're going to get all that, therefore a lot more future clicks and ad space that they can sell in the future, if you will. So they want to promote you because that helps it helps them achieve their long-term goal, which is more people clicking on ads in the future versus ignoring them and going to the organic results on Google. Okay? So, though with that said, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about in terms of relative CTR, why it matters, what it is, and why it will make you unprofitable if you aren't paying attention to the core functionality of how the Google Ad system works, okay? So put the time in and effort in to do it right, and you'll get the rewards. If you don't, probably just not going to make any money in today's environment. So with that said, if you liked the video, I'd appreciate if you would give the video a like on the way out, and you should consider subscribing, as I have a ton of other content on this channel about how to make money with ads, coming from somebody who does ad strategy all day long, 40 hours a week, to give you the information about what works in today's environment as well as the stuff that doesn't work. It's the best information you can find on YouTube, I promise you, on how to make real money with ads, coming straight from the source, not somebody who's a full-time YouTuber or selling some course bullshit. It's coming straight from the source. So therefore, you should subscribe already if you are serious about making money. I also have a blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog where you can also find my written work on how to make money with online ads, Google, Facebook, so on and so forth, as well as a column that I run over at entrepreneur.com. So you can follow me there as well. If you have any questions about anything I covered here today, or any ad-related question for that matter, feel free to leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time, and more likely within 24 hours. I've been getting back to everybody who's leaving me a comment or question on this channel about anything ad-related. I'd love to be able to give back to my viewers as just as a thank you, to say thank you for helping the channel grow. Beyond that, I do run an ad agency, as I mentioned during this video. I'm the only agency that offers guaranteed results. What that looks like I mentioned before, is we don't charge you any fees until you can make more profit from your ads. The only catch is we got to know we can get results with your campaigns. But if you want to see if we can do that for you, just simply reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. I'd be happy to give you a free analysis and let you know how much profits we can get you in addition to what you have now from your ads before we would need to even charge you a fee, and so on and so forth there. Or if you're trying to run a new campaign, we can talk about a certain minimum benchmark we can get it to for you up front. So, and then with that said, a lot of people, I understand, don't want to work with ad agencies or ad consultants. They like managing their own ads, but if you have or do, you should use our ad templates to your advantage. We sell just ad templates that work for certain markets. We've worked in over 100 markets at this particular stage in the last 10 years. If we, such as if you're a plumber, we've worked and spent millions of dollars in the plumbing space. You can take all the ads, landing pages, everything that we've developed for that market and just copy and paste them into your account and get the same results we're getting after years of optimizing ads in that space, which you just have to pay a simple one-time fee to get them. And with that said, we of course could tell you the results you're going to get with those templates. So at the very least, you should reach out and see if we have a template available in your space. We got people using these templates to start other businesses. If you want to start another business, the best, easiest place to go would be to take one of our templates that already work for a certain market to get a certain amount of results, which are basically already profitable. And this works because as long as you're in a different geographic area as a current or past client, there is no conflict of interest. So you could easily just start the same business that they're using to make money here with the ad templates that they're using here in a different area where you're at and make money, or in a different geographic area altogether. But anyway, if you're interested in that, you can definitely reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com as well for that. But I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another great strategy for you then. See you later.